Two important benefits of teamwork are specialization and knowledge transfer. The typical assembly line is an example of team production. Each member of the team specializes in one small and well defined task. The fact that he or she can specialize allows each job to be done more efficiently. If individuals did not work in teams, production would be much slower and, of course, more costly. A car that had to be built top to bottom by one worker alone would take a great deal of time, and it, of course, will not be of the same quality as one made by a large number of specialists. An assembly line is a team because each part is linked to one another. If one part is not made properly, complementary parts will not work well. It is also very difficult to monitor individual performance on assembly line tasks. The part may not fail until months after the car has been sold. At that point, it is very costly to trace the individual who caused the problem. Knowledge transfer is the second benefit from team production and probably occurs more when specialization is not too great. For valuable knowledge transfer to occur, individuals must have distinct information sets, and the information sets must be relevant to each other. If there is too much information overlap, teamwork does not produce much knowledge transfer. If the information that one has is irrelevant to another, then knowledge transfer has no value. Teamwork can produce valuable knowledge transfer when two conditions hold. First, members of the team have idiosyncratic pieces of information so that putting the team together allows new information to flow amongst members. And two, the idiosyncratic information possessed by one individual is valuable to some other individuals in the team as well. Thus, the information sets must be distinct and the idiosyncratic components must be relevant. These two factors should help thinking about choosing members of a team. For example, the housekeeping staff and the accountant possess idiosyncratic pieces of information separately. However, if you team them up, it's irrelevant because the idiosyncratic information possessed by each is irrelevant to the other. So there is little value in having a team of an accountant and a housekeeping staff. Let us consider another example where a software engineer has teamed up with a finance expert and an economist to write a code for developing a software for the purpose of calculating duration and convexity of a bond. Each of the three participants in this team possess idiosyncratic information which is relevant to the other. Now, this is where synergies are getting built in and the constitution of a team is justified. More members of a team means that there is a larger information set from which the team can draw. However, one has to understand what is the marginal benefit of the information that an individual is bringing to the team as against the marginal cost of adding that member to the team. The situation is illustrated here. There are four workers A, B, C, and D, each of whom has some specialized information. The information rectangles do not overlap perfectly. Given this, the best way to structure a team is probably to put members C and D together. The combination of C and D provides enough information to get most of the tasks accomplished because most of the task ellipse is in boxes C or D. Adding B to the team expands the set of tasks somewhat, and adding A expands them only very slightly. A four-member team comprising of A, B, C, and D will not be able to accomplish all the tasks. since some parts of the task ellipse do not overlap anyone's information set. Adding A and B to the team of C and D is likely to introduce significant communication difficulties without improving the distribution of information much. The most important factor in determining the amount of free riding occurring in a team is the size of the group. When the group is small, free riding may not be much of a problem. Let's say there is a small two-person partnership firm owned by two people. The free rider effect is a force because one person captures half of the return to his or her effort. That is, when one person increases the profits of the business by 100 rupees, he or she gets only 50 rupees and the other person gets the other 50 rupees. But this problem is not too great for two reasons. First, the hardworking person has a great deal of information about what the shirker is doing and vice versa. If one partner shirks too much, the partnership will break down. It is the threat of a breakup that keeps both partners working hard. Peer monitoring can be very effective in small groups. In a small group, a worker is likely to know what the other worker is doing to a much greater extent than in a large group. Furthermore, the incentives to punish a shirker are greater in a small group than in a large group. In a small group, let's say a partnership of two persons, one partner's reduced effort has a significant effect on the earnings of the other partner. If the size of the group is large, peer monitoring is not as effective as it is in a small group. There are two reasons why in a large partnership, peer monitoring is not as effective as in a small team. First, no one member shirking has much of an effect on any other member. So the incentive to punish shirking co-workers is reduced. Suppose, for example, there were 100 members in a team. When one worker shirks, and because of which the profits, let's say, reduce by 100 rupees, every other member takes a loss of just 1 rupee. Given this, most workers will be unwilling to go out of their way to discipline a peer who is costing them only a small amount of money. It is generally easier to simply ignore the situation. However, the unfortunate situation comes when everyone in the firm refrains from confronting their shirking co-workers. Under such a situation, low effort becomes the norm. The second reason why uh, we observe that in large partnership peer monitoring is not very effective is because it is difficult to observe shirkers in large teams. When many people are involved and the task is complicated, determining the source of a problem may not be easy. When the team consists of only two members, the one person who has not committed knows that it must be the other member. So the free rider effects are more prevalent in larger teams. When individuals are engaged in related activities, free rider effects are lessened because then it becomes easier for one person to evaluate the other person's work. And therefore, free rider effects are lessened when one partner can assess the other partner's performance. Incentive and reward structures becomes a little bit complicated in large groups. In the next video, we are going to look at incentives and rewards in a team environment.